Santander's entrance into the U.S. Is as much about connecting the dots, a word Pedro Pablo used last night, for customers that Santander has elsewhere with customers we have here. And I've been very pleased to be in meetings where customers say, we're going to do a joint venture in Brazil.
We focus exclusively on Latin America, even though we're based here in Philadelphia. 100% of our business is in the Latin American region. So we operate today in Mexico, in Panama, Central America. We operate in Colombia, Peru, Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, and we have some clients recently in Bolivia.
We have been focusing on 3 important aspects. One of them is coverage in terms of our Chilean offer, try to get to as much Chilean companies as we can. Other one is diversification in terms of our offer to the world. And the third point, that in my opinion is the most important one, is innovation.
What we are looking here, we are going to search here in Philadelphia to strengthen ties. I want to greet as well our key actor here. Our player is Peter Longstreet. He's going to be our consul, and he's nominated this year. And of course, the thing is, the embassy is trying to strengthen ties with Philadelphia, with Pennsylvania states, and to focus and orient the investment and the business community in Uruguay towards Philadelphia.
For Mexico, actually, we have 3 mandates. The first one is to promote Mexico, to help those investors that are looking to Mexico to establish a business, a productive asset. The other one will be to help Mexican companies to get a market outside of Mexico. And we have 34 offices around the world. Just 9 of these, from these 34 offices, 9 are in the NAFTA region, because it's the most important region in terms of trade for Mexico. And the third one is to help Mexican companies to become international.
It has become increasingly common for me, as one of the very few Mexican lawyers and American lawyers, but licensed in both countries in the region, to be approached by companies who are looking to invest in Mexico, or who have investments in Mexico, or considering the prospect of expanding into Latin America.
And I'm going to touch on maybe 2 countries that we don't have representation on this panel, which include Brazil and Colombia.
But what's important is, in these 40 years, we have been focused on opening to the world. Having, in the case of Chile, 54 offices spread around the world, being a small country, is the view of how Chileans, and I think more Latin American countries, are looking to the world. Opening their barriers. The Pacific Alliance, we'll get into the Pacific Alliance a little bit later, is an excellent example of how we want to focus our efforts in terms of working with long-term partners around the world. So these are cycles, but as long as you have these relations, I think we can handle that.
In terms of political issues, it's a very pragmatic government. And the other thing is, we are going to, that's for sure, we're going to have another left government, because we have election, and it's going to return probably Tabaré Vázquez, like the return of Bachelet in Chile. On the other hand, if the opposition is going to return, the White Party, it's more or less the same. The thing in Uruguay is how to tackle with the social development. On the other hand, only to add 2 comments on David and on Pedro. On David, about one example about a country that has made a successful tax reform under a leftist government. This is Uruguay. Okay, open to the world. And on the other hand, adding a comment on Pedro about the middle class, Uruguay was well known as a middle class country. And after our financial crisis, we have a huge amount of people living under the poverty. We fought against that, and now we have to meet their expectation. They are returning to the middle class. This is only in Uruguay, but happens in the south of Chile. We are very integrated to the south of Chile and to the east of Argentina. And this is a phenomenon that is occurring now. These people is demanding more goods, is demanding services, is demanding education, and we have to meet this challenge.
In the case of Mexico, I think that the agenda has been very clear for last year. For example, the President Peña Nieto, on the balance of the first year of government, he met about more than 35 leaders, first ministers and presidents. So that means that Mexico is working to get increase the network, and commercial, political, and that will be benefit. The other one will be the agenda of competitiveness. When I say competitiveness, is to get more easy to do business, get it the best practice international in 30 places. It sounds easy, but sometimes when you have many years in the field with different unions, different people, it's difficult. But the example is with the reforms.
The purpose of the Pacific Alliance is once they make their zoom into that 2 or 3% of investment, they see the ninth economy. The ninth economy of the world is the Pacific Alliance. You have Colombia, Peru, Mexico, Chile, small countries besides Mexico, getting together in working in trade, political, commercial agreements. So we are focusing to the world as a whole block, open, same-minded, oriented in terms of rule of law, commercial opportunities, and how we see commercial efforts. So
we see Philadelphia and Pennsylvania as we see Uruguay. We are a hub in our region. You are a hub for us in our region, and you are an opportunity for us in terms of trade in two ways: to import machinery, to import equipment for transport. We are focusing in some areas that I mentioned. I forgot one. It's very interesting in Uruguay. We are about to begin the mining sector. We weren't a region of mining, and we are going to develop the oil sector. We are prospecting and exploring, and the gas sector. So there are many opportunities, and we have to do concrete business and concretize with Philadelphia. So it's very comfortable. It's a pleasure to hear, but we are going to work in concrete terms with the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania states, of course, and the rest of the region.
And I will focus more in the more important, that I see economical and importance international. Would be the financial reform, the energy reform, and the telecommunications reform. Essentially, the financial reform give you lower the risk to the banks, to loan more credits to the population, especially to the medium and small business. The thing is that in the past, well, it's in place, this reform, to get valid credit or default credit will take longer. So we have this reform will be modified about 220 different laws to get the risk and more efficient in the procedures. So that will be benefit to the population, to the people, to the middle class, to get credit. In Mexico, to a credit card credit is about 35% of interest annually. So it's impossible, it's in system. So I will say that reform. The second one is telecommunication. In terms of economical benefit that will be seen in these reforms, we believe that we have 1 to 2 points to the GDP with these reforms. As well, new jobs generation. The expectation is about generate with these reforms 2,000 new jobs in the economy, and I will say that will be put in Mexico in the scope international and open economy for any investors into the world.
But I think we're probably going to see growth remain stable in 2014, probably the same levels that we saw in 2013, probably around 3% growth. In Brazil, I think that's the opposite of that story. In Brazil, we saw growth around 2.3% in 2013, and we're probably going to see that slow down further into 2014. Probably we're projecting growth right now of 1.7% in 2014. In Chile, I think their economy is slowing down, but At the same time, we're probably going to see it just a smidge below potential output. So potential output's 4%, probably going to see something around 3.9% in 2014. In Colombia and Peru, I think we're going to see very big growth and very big progress there. In Peru, I think we're going to see a return to growth of around 5.5%. In Colombia, we're going to see growth accelerate as well. And we think that potential output is going to be a little bit higher this year. So we think it's going to reach its potential output probably around 4.8% growth in 2014.